Joining me this morning from the humble abodes of somewhere in Winnipeg, Mr. Kevin Young of the Manitoba Junior Curling Tour. Good morning, Kevin. Thanks for joining me. How are you doing this morning?
Very good, Theo. Thanks for having me.
Were you practicing your sweeping with all the snow outside, or are you leaving that to the boys?
Actually, no, I was practicing, unfortunately. Yeah.
Corn brooms, getting some exercise. No corn brooms found in Brandon, I hope, unless you're just using it for balance. Quite an event this past weekend. A lot of teams from all over Canada and the United States as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There were teams from Minnesota, North Dakota. There was the U.S. national team, junior men's team, and junior women's U.S. national. Teams from Alberta, Saskatchewan, and of course, quite a few from Manitoba too.
So we had males, females going at it. How many? There was 32 teams in total, you said?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So
yeah,
16 aside. Format was how? Was it a round robin, or was it a setup of just play different players?
No, we all had pools that we played out of. So, and basically, you needed to come out of your pool in order to proceed on into the playdowns. There was a consolation round. So if you didn't come out of your pool, you still had an opportunity to play and to win some money. So there were some good teams that ended up in consolation round. I know ours was one.
Okay, so how did the boys fare? Who were the eventual winners on both sides there, Kevin?
So in the end, Team Jacques Gauthier played against Team Jordan McDonald in the final. And they both had some great curling behind them for the weekend. Team Jacques Gauthier came out with a 5-0 victory over Team Jordan McDonald. So congratulations to Team Gauthier. In the women's side, there was almost at the semifinal had Team Serena Gray Withers versus Team Zacharias, and Team Serena Gray Withers defeated Zacharias in an extra end 7-6. So that was a really epic battle in and of itself. But in the end, she faced Team Alex Friesen in the final. And Team Serena Gray Withers was come out victorious there as well with a 10-3 victory. So definitely a great effort by Team Serena Gray Withers.
So Gray Withers is from the MJCT, correct?
Absolutely.
And they're one of the top teams. They're one of the top teams in the female side. The McDonald squad from the male side, are they from Winnipeg as well, or are they?
They are, yeah, and Gauthier too. So
right.
Yes. MJCT turned out very well overall, Theo, with all 4 finalists being out of the Manitoba Junior Curling Tour.
So did travel become an issue with some of these teams, or just the fact that we're just more familiar with the ice? I mean,
no.
Everybody plays on the same pebble. Everybody plays the same morning and the same afternoons, the same evenings. Yeah. I'm not going to make excuses for the United States. I'm not going to make excuses for Alberta. I'm just saying, is it because we have such a good breed of curling here in Manitoba that we provide that elite status in this sport? Or is it just the fact that when it comes to an event like this, other factors come play?
Well, you know what? Some of what you said is true, Theo. The team, the U.S. national junior men's team, I didn't speak to the junior women's coach, so I can't speak specifically to them. But I know one of the players is from Boston. The coach is from Michigan. One of the players was from North Dakota, another from Minnesota, and another yet from Wisconsin, I believe. So when they're all flying, lots of travel, but they didn't play like it was a problem. My team lost to Team Sinnott, the junior men's, on last rock and an extra end, and they certainly played, quite skillfully. So I think that they're used to travel too. For a team that's new to it, it is a bit of a stretch in order to try to adapt to that, kind of pre and post efforts that's required for the travel. But no, you're right. Same ice, same. They like coming to play here. It's good ice, and it's definitely something that they look forward to each and every year. So,
I mean, you talk about not necessarily geography, but I mean, the amount of practice time that these teams from Manitoba have compared to, like you said, Massachusetts, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. I mean, you try to get those four kids together on a weekly basis or a daily basis, not happening. I mean, it
no,
just doesn't roll like that. And I mean, we've been the MJCT and its events are extremely dedicated to making sure that there is a spiel of some sort almost every weekend in the fall, which I think proves dividends for competition. It also proves dividends of, the shrug saying, oh, we got to play these girls or these guys again. Like, can we get some fresh meat in here? Which is exactly what Brandon was. And that's the great thing about him. We said this last week, Kevin, while we were talking about, the opportunity for some of these teams to see different styles of shots, different strategy. Were you you're watching and seeing what's going on with the other teams? Did you see something different or a change in some of the play in some of these teams, or was it pretty, just the same run of the mill kind of curling action?
and definitely not run of the mill. There was some unique idiosyncrasies, I guess, if you would, with respect to the game. We played an Alberta team, and they most assuredly played similar to our style. But the Team USA, the junior national team from USA, they played a bit of a different style. And I think it's one that allowed them to feel out the competition because everybody's foreign to them, right? So it allows them to feel it out. They have experience though internationally, and but they were great to play against. I'll tell you. Actually, my team was invited to attend an event in Minnesota, an international event in Minnesota next weekend, but it's the Tour Championship. Otherwise, we gotta
you gotta pick that's an easy pick to make right there.
Yeah, we're not giving that up. No,
not this year. No, not this year. This weekend upcoming. So we have a berth spiel in Beausejour this weekend, correct?
Absolutely.
How does that work compared to a typical MJCT event and the differences?
So there are a couple of nuances, I guess, if you would, because it's a CurlManitoba event. The berth spiel is for the provincial berth to go to the provincial playdowns or championship, pardon me. And there are actually 2 berth spots for men and 2 berth spots for women available in Beausejour. The play itself, how it differs, there's no points associated with what you're doing at the berth spiel for MJCT. There's no commingling, so to speak, in this event. The actual event itself, the structure of the event itself, there's a 5-minute practice for each team prior to the start of the game. You then draw to the button to see who has hammer. So there's that. That's a little bit of a twist. But after that, it's just curling, and let's see what comes out of it. So definitely, every team is looking forward to it. There are 13 men's teams in Beausejour.
Yeah.
Walter, Garulak, Klimke, Olofsson, McGilvery, Brandt, Albig, Freeman, Van Rysel, Bile, Johnson, McDonald, and Friesen. There are 8 women's teams in Beausejour. Team Grace Beaudry, Enns, Stovey, Onagi, Davies, Team Victoria Beaudry, Friesen, and Lukowicz, Katie Lukowicz. So 8 teams for 2 and 13 teams for 2, respectively. But it's not the last chance for teams vying for that opportunity to get to provincials.
You're beating me to all these questions, Kevin. You're answering all my questions, which is good.
There will be a regional qualifier held yet too, before provincials, and that will allow in Winnipeg at least 2 more spots for junior men and at least 2 more spots for junior women. Truth be told, when they do the math, today is the last day for teams to register to qualify and everything else. When they do the math, last year, I think there was an extra 1 or 2 spots available for Winnipeg for men, and something similar for women, maybe 1 spot more for women. So anyway, the point is, it's not the last stand, if you would, here in Beausejour, but people would like to get it and get it put behind them as fast as they can.
Now, this is berth spiel. This is your berth for the provincial championship, you said, correct?
Correct.
And is there an age limit on the provincial championships, or is this all age?
U21 curling, and there is coming up soon. There'll be a cutoff for the U18s, and then some action for U18 program, but that will come really into the new year.
Okay.
But the U21 is the big one, and it's first.
So we have how many teams from the male and the female side get to go to provincials with all these different berths that are being accumulated over the course of the season?
So that's a good question. I think that there's 12 teams, both in junior men's and junior women's.
Okay.
The pools are such that you have to fare quite well in order to come out of your pool. So, but you know what? Provincials is an exciting time. It's the atmosphere. It's the opening ceremonies, the closing ceremonies, all those different things. The patch that you wear, right? It all means a lot. So,
when is this provincials being held?
Provincials is held, forgive me, I believe it's December 29th or 31st. 31st, I think, to Gen 5.
Okay. So that's right after Christmas, right before.
Right after Christmas.
Ringing in the holiday season with a bunch of hammers and a bunch of draw weights, right?
That's it.
There it is. We have one more item to discuss, only because it's a bit of rule changing, like you mentioned off air, with regards to Curl Canada and eligibility, right, Kevin? And you clarified it for me. So clarify how it went down and how it's changing for 2020.
Well, last year, Curl Canada said that they were making some changes to age structure to realign with the World Curling Association's junior eligibility. You see, the problem is we play in this year, but you go to the Worlds in next year, okay? And in order to do that, they really needed to cut a year off of eligibility. Every curler, whether they were in their first year curling or last year curling, certainly took offense to that because they were losing a whole year of curling eligibility, especially ones who are at the back end, all right, and potentially were going to get no opportunity at all. Their first reaction, although I don't think most people understood it, their first reaction was to say that we would allow an overage player, Curl Canada would allow an overage player as long as they were born prior to, so for in 2020, if you were born prior to June 30th or before 1999, you could curl as an overage player in 2020. But if, unfortunately, you were born in the last half of the year, which actually meant you were younger than people who were born in January, February, March, April, May, you couldn't curl. That was the rule. When we called for verification, my team specifically, because we have a person who was born in November 3rd, 99, they said, no, you're done. You got 2 months of curling left, and that's it. Game over. Didn't seem right. Didn't set well with us. So the curler in question and our team, and myself, a couple of parents, and his parent wrote a couple of letters of support to Curl Canada. They contacted us and said, you know what? You're absolutely right. This does appear to be unfair. Leave it with us. So we did. And so they changed it. And the eligibility now is for 2020, you need 3 players who are less than 21 years of age as of June 30th, 2021. All right. And that date is in there on purpose because, again, that shift forward for the Worlds, right? And you can have 1 player, overage player, born between July 1, 99 and June 30th, 2000. So there's a year of eligibility instead of that, just that 6-month thing. And it takes care of those people born in the off period, like in that later part of the year. That's exciting because that means across the country, literally hundreds of curlers who thought they were done now can curl next year. And you know what? I'm really happy for that because the young people that I know in the MJCT and here in the province of Manitoba who are avid curlers and continue to curl up to the end of their eligibility. Not one of them was looking forward to not being able to curl next year.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, Kevin. If it's 6 months of eligibility taken away almost because you're too young, it really makes no sense. I mean, why are you granting permission to, half a year that's actually older than those that are younger? And
Exactly.
I'm glad they were able to organize this and get this straightened out because, like you said, it allows hundreds of curlers nationally to prepare and still compete at the proper age group.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just like you said, that June 30th cutoff is important for Worlds. So you almost have to look at June being month 12, I guess, and July being month 1,
Yes.
as opposed to January on a normal calendar. So I'm
Correct.
glad that got straightened out. And more importantly, I'm glad it works out for a lot of curlers to be able to compete still at this age group because it's a fantastic age. And I know you and I are going to talk more later on this upcoming year in the new calendar year in January about players that have potentially come out of the MJCT and are now still curling professionally, whether it be nationally or whether it be on the Grand Slam. So I look forward to those discussions as well, Kevin. Beausejour starts on Saturday and Sunday this weekend.
Actually starts Thursday night, I believe. So,
tonight, rocking and rolling in Beausejour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking for some stuff to do. The Legion's full. Go to your curling club and go watch some great curling action. There you go.
Absolutely.
Kevin, I'm sure I'll see you down there this weekend.
Yes, absolutely, Theo.
And, of course, next weekend, the granddaddy of them all, as I've always been told, the championship, we will be there for the semis and the finals with Amateur Sports TV. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and checking out some of these girls and boys and getting them mic'd up perhaps and listen to some of those conversations they're having. And, might not be the most PG friendly, but you never know.
You know what? I know almost every curler out there, and I'll tell you what, they're all pretty good young people. And
that's awesome.
I'm pretty sure that they'll be fun, mic'd or not.
That'll be great. I'm looking forward to the heated action. They're not going to burn the Assiniboine curling down, but they're going to have a great set of stones and a great set of games there next weekend. So, Kevin, I want to thank you very much for joining me. We will talk next week before the weekend starts to get a good rundown of what's going down.
Will do.
All right. This has been Draw Weight with Kevin Young here on Amateur Sports TV.